Yo, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. How you doing? So, Grand, uh, yeah, we're getting ready to get started here in a few minutes. The other side over here. Start. I want to welcome everybody to the live. Of course, normally we talk about breaking down the structure of the Bible and breaking down the prophet way. Today, however, we're going to talk about the brick, people are calling it. It's going to involve possibilities of hope, truth, the whole situation. The main thing we want to talk about is growing push by men and women. This happens. Adjustment. Now that we screen guard, two things have to do just to make sure. You can't hear me? You can barely hear me. Oh, well, move this a little closer. Let me know if it gets any better. Is that better? I got a yes and I got a no. Both of y'all can't be right. Which is it? Y'all hear me well? All right. Good, good, good. One more platform up, running. How's everybody doing? Glorious Thursday. Y'all know NFL. NFL. Great day. Great, great day. NFL is Falcons playing on Sunday. Who's your team? I'm just making up reasons for y'all busy while I'm getting this last piece together. Well, alrighty then. Hope everybody's having a great day. I'm having a fantastic morning. The heels are alive with the sound of music. Oh yeah. Sheila, how you doing? Grand Rising, CJ, John, Spirit Born, Debbie, always. So I'm sure that by now, if most people have heard about this situation with the young lady who got um, hit. Now you got to say allegedly hit by a brick because there's so much over the airways that we don't know which way is up. Oh, sorry about that. We don't know which way is up. There's so much information that people are either rumors. Some of it I think is rumors. Some of it I think is men who hate women. Some of it I think is women who hate men. the main thing we're going to talk about is this disregard for each other that we seem to have as far as men and women going at each other, casting these wide ass nets about what black men don't do, what black women don't.
Is that better?
Ah, I'm sure that is much better now on Facebook and YouTube. It was muted. The mute button was on right in front of my face on the screen. So all of that, all I had to do was turn the damn mute off. Ah, so we just wasted a good 10 minutes of trying to figure out something and there was nothing to figure out other than clicking on a button, right? Ah, gotta enjoy it. That deserves the cigar blow. My cigar, you know. So we got it back. All right. Mm. So what we got? Now this is a very uh, interesting situation. We've seen plenty of times where people are on these social media platforms and they're yelling and screaming, talking about how black men don't protect black women. And it's like this double standard that kind of gets on my damn nerves. It is the double standard that gets on my nerves. And before I even get started, I'm going to share this video on TikTok. It shows two different thought processes of two different people. Let me push this screen up. Oh, so that I can share my screen for a second. Oh no. What is that? Video button? And I'm gonna play this video.
Let me clarify this. Are y'all telling us that if you are not related to us, if you are not dating us, if you're not having some sort of physical relationship to us, if you don't find us attractive, if you don't find us polite enough, kind enough, quiet enough, that our lives are not worth protecting? Is that what you're telling us? Is that the precedent you're setting?
Yes. The same way women will say, you're not my family. You're not someone I'm romantically involved with. You're not tall enough, handsome enough, rich enough, smart enough. I don't owe you a smile. I don't owe you words of encouragement. I don't owe you respect. I don't owe you any kind of gratitude. Men will hold the doors open for women and they won't even say thank you because I don't know you. The same way when you see a man down on his luck, you judge and laugh instead of offering him words of encouragement, speaking life into him. Why should I do that? That's a stranger. Things that don't cost you anything, you will not give to a man that you don't know, you don't want. But y'all expect these men who don't know you, don't owe you anything, and they have their own families at home that they need to get back to. Y'all expect those men to lay their life on the line for you when y'all can't even give them a hi, smile, or a thank you. Oh, okay.
So,
Curious to know what you guys think about that. What you think about either side of that, um, those statements. Because I have noticed, especially with the power of TikTok now, that there's been so many conversations where, especially as soon as this happened, as soon as she put that video out, there's been so many conversations about how black men just stand around. People just automatically jumped on the bandwagon of that. Like I said in my video yesterday concerning, most of the people I find who jump to one side or the other side immediately and in the negative format of all black men are worthless, don't do shit. Even if a woman is saying that she got one that will protect her, oh, he's the exception. But for the majority, um, I find them to be toxic people. And on the other side of that, all these men who just immediately jump to the defensive, get all up in their feelings. I find a lot of them in the same way to be toxic as hell. Now, my question is not so much a question, but my thought process on it is this. I just check it. It don't sound muffled on my other phone, so I don't know. There are many different aspects of this that we want to tackle. There's also these guys out here. I saw a couple of guys out yesterday and today where they were talking about the fact that this whole thing has been a hoax, that she has done this before. She's had multiple GoFundMe accounts. There's no police report. The video is at least a week plus old. The club owner is saying that the woman just appeared on the scene. They're saying that the young man who I had in the video yesterday, I think that's the one that they're referring to. Mm-hmm. It is. They're saying that he lied, that he wasn't actually there. But they just saying he lied and he wasn't actually there, not that he doesn't know this woman. But he does. Obviously, it just is still a woman that's known throughout the community. That she's been doing things for a long time to get to try to go viral. Multiple GoFundMe accounts. People questioning, was it actually a brick? There was some type of injury sustained on her face, but when you look at the picture, it doesn't look like that. I'm be honest. That was the first thing that I thought. First thing that I thought was, it doesn't look like when you get hit by a brick. You know, it looked more like something smooth hit her. So the brick is a little ragged. If it happened right then, I was wondering where the blood was. Yeah, it's possible that it didn't break the skin, but I was curious where's the blood, where's the scratches. I was looking for those sorts of things. Not saying that she deserved to be injured in any kind of way, does not. But it is somewhat questionable. So I can understand why people question it. And if she is the type of trying to utilize GoFundMe's and all those kind of things to get help, okay, that's a jacked up person. Now, if I'm wrong, but I'm not looking at it either way. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I don't know. It's that there's a lot of information. My point is there's a lot of people saying a lot of different things, and people are just jumping on different sides. But one thing that seems to be for sure is whether skit or not. Now, some of the videos do look like skits where she goes up, she's slapping these white men, but some of these videos don't. The fact that he was degrading the guy about the phone, I don't know. With them saying the guy wasn't there, now that part of the story is a little bit injected. But in general, what bothers me the most is everybody's reaction. All these people react. Now, I'm a father of two daughters. Grew up with a family of cousins and aunties and all that, And, we were taught by my grandfather that you take care of your family. You defend the family, and especially the girls. There's many times where I have been sent to the principal office, and it's my cousin Chanel's fault. Some boy spit on him, so I had to whoop his ass. Some boy pushed him, so I had to whoop his ass. I was always fighting because somebody did something to my cousin who was like almost a year younger. So for the most part, we was always in school. My job was to protect them. Now here's the difference though. She and my other cousin, and the same way I taught my daughter, you don't put yourself in a position where you need protection. And I know that's not going to sit right with a bunch of people. I don't care. It's that part. Because first thing, if a man, it's hard for me to accept that this woman said that a man came up to a woman, hey, can I get your number? She says no. And then he just walks away. I mean, then he just picks up a brick and knocks the shit out. I had a problem with that when it first came out. There had to be more to it, and that's why in my video I said I know people are gonna say, well, he should have just walked away. If she starts degrading him, if she starts degrading him and cussing at him and doing all this, and then you see even the skit videos, even if I'm not saying they were skits, but even if they were skits or not skits, the problem with that is life and art almost always will imitate each other. Rather. They always spill over. If you're acting that way in art, then you're going to act that way in reality. If you're in a movie and you're doing kung fu fighting, you may not be a martial artist afterwards, but you learn how to throw a punch. You learn how to kick. You may not be able to do it like a choreography, but at least you pick something up, is what I'm saying. Something translates over. So, skit or not skit, her going around with the attitude that she demonstrates, I can see her having that attitude if somebody asks for a number and then she goes, Thing about it is I've seen this happen too many times, especially when I lived in downtown LA. I would see a guy speak to a woman. Instead of her just politely saying no or walking away or anything like that, she gets this attitude like, how dare you speak to me? Look at your clothes. Look at your body. Look at your hairline. Look at whatever. Look at the car you're driving. And completely goes in and pretty much verbally abuses the guy. You come up, perfect example. Perfect. Y'all know I like my cigars. The cigar lounge used to be sitting in a cigar lounge. So I'm sitting in my cigar lounge, and this one young lady who's sitting next to me, she smokes regular cigars. These two new guys, and there's about 20 people in the room. Two guys come in, brand new, never been there before, don't know anybody. They come in, they're new to cigars. Oftentimes, when people are new, they smoke what's called a sweet cigar, an infused cigar. And this was like one that's called a fat bottom bed. It's a sweet tasting cigar. So it's like sweet tobacco. Now, the guy sits next to the young lady next to me. And I was hoping that he don't try to talk to her, because I know how she is. And I know how women who smoke regular cigars, how they can be in the cigar world. So he commenced to try to talk to her. And as soon as he does, I tap her on the arm and I told her, be nice. Know how she is. Be nice. And he's still trying to talk to her. And she looked over. What's that sweet shit you talking about? And she started going off. MF, you can't talk to me smoking that old sweet light, sweet ass cigar. Real men don't. Just went off on her. I'm sitting there like, hey. I shut her down because one, it's my place of business. You alienating the customer and embarrassing the customer. But it was truly unnecessary. Later on, her and I talked, and I told her, I said, that's unnecessary. You cannot do that. Just because a dude is smoking a sweet cigar. Yeah, I look at a guy sideways when I see him smoking a sweet cigar. Every time my brother pull one out, I look at him like, come on, man. You're the real one. And he will sometimes. But that's him. He's doing what he's doing. Doesn't mean anything towards his manhood. I know my brother's manhood. So it doesn't have a manhood thing. I just don't like to smell it. But it has nothing to do with his manhood. She dogged this dude out and challenged his manhood simply because of the type of cigar he smokes. I've seen women do things like that constantly. I know a bunch of women in the cigar world that will dog out a man for smoking a sweet cigar. It's unnecessary. And if you do it publicly, you're escalating a situation. I've taught my daughters never to escalate a situation. One, you don't lay your hands on anybody else. You only fight in self-defense. But two, there's no reason to escalate a situation. Somebody's mad. Somebody want to talk trash. Speak calmly, and then walk away. Right? That's what you do. If the person still wants to walk away. But if the person is still trailing you, still saying stuff, still trying to get up under your skin, trying to get a reaction from you, they just gonna have to get one. High school, friend of mine. I know he don't watch these videos, but I wish he did. He was taught never to lay hands on a woman. But one evening, we at his house, and his sister, who is aggressive, was aggressive, I don't know if she still is, she just kept on going at him until it was so much so that she got hit in the forehead and got passed out. So you can't expect this double standard. If I see a woman and she just going in like that, just like I did the woman in my lounge, hey, I'll tell her to calm down. But if she want to keep going and disregard what I'm telling her, all right, fool, you gonna get what you get. You will get what you get. V Supreme said, I learned as a grown man that if it's not worth killing the other person, it's not worth fighting over. It's not worth starting a fight. It's true. Self-defense, though, I'm gonna have to work. Let me give you an example of why, as a man, and I heard this other young lady use this example, and I thought it was a great example. I couldn't get the video on here, otherwise I would play her entire video. But just think about this. And I've experienced this. This is why it hit home for me. So when I was providing security for the coming out of the Marine Corps when we was down in Stuttgart, Germany, and it was during the Christmas festival. As part of his security detail, he was getting ready to go down this street. And I was like, sir, can't go down that street. Now, his lieutenant, one of his aides, jumps all up, little captain, actually. No, he was a second lieutenant. He was the second lieutenant. First lieutenant. He gets all in his fit. Who are you to tell the commandant of the Marine Corps where he can and cannot go? And I said, okay, let the commandant of the Marine Corps go down there. That's the red light district, by the way. And then when somebody takes a photo of the commandant of the Marine Corps in the red light district, let's see how that plays out, in the media. Me and the commandant became cool after that. Every time he came to Germany, he always wanted me around. Right? I always had to be there. Now, understand this, though. You have bodyguard situation. This is the situation the young lady used in the video. If the client doesn't listen to the bodyguard, then the client puts themselves in a position to be killed or to be harmed or injured or whatever. That situation with Wembyana and Britney Spears in Vegas. I don't know if y'all know who that is. That's the tall 7'5" for the Spurs. Well, she go running up to try to tap him from behind, and the bodyguard immediately. First of all, the bodyguard should have been more aware, and he should have never got that close. But when he goes, all he sees is a hand touching his client. He goes and he removes the hand, and her own hand hit her own self, and she fell down. Her own fault. But the purpose of the bodyguard is to keep the client safe. But if the client don't listen to are, then the client is not going to be safe. So, ladies, if we see you out there acting foolish, dude, even for a guy, if I see a dude acting foolish, I'm gonna let you get what you get because you are creating the situation that results in whatever happens to you. And I know that's not possible. And then let me tell you something else that's not possible. Every black man doesn't deserve to be defended, and every black woman does not deserve to be defended. It irks my soul the fact that there's a double standard in this entire situation. If a black man, if people like to use the animal kingdom a lot, they like to do that. They like to talk about lions. Male lion is protect the pride. Well, if you got a rogue female, that male lion is not protected. If one of the male lions gets injured, they let the hyenas get to him. Right? Just because you might be in the pride does not mean you deserve all the protection if you ain't acting right. Saw this video of a male young lion want to go out there and be all by itself, stray away from the pride, not, pretty much doing the Simba thing. Well, the hyenas was getting his ass. Now he lucky that he was still close enough where the female pride members came and saved him. Saw another video where a female lioness, she was out there by herself. She was lucky that they was close enough still to that the rest of the pride can save. But I've seen the ones where they go way off the way or they get injured or something like that, or they acting outside the norm of the pride. Hey, that's your ass. Your best friend is dead because a woman stabbed him in the lung over some stupid shit. Yeah, that's too aggressive. I really dislike what social media has done to our community. We see a couple people do something negative, then run with it with the narrative as a whole subgroup of the black people like that. And you're exactly right, Sky Pop. That's the other part that drives me insane. That's the other part that drives me. There is absolutely no way that I've been that guy to try to break up a couple from fighting. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I see a couple fighting, I'm leaving y'all alone. You know why? Because every time, the 3 or 4 times that I've broken up a couple from fighting, the damn woman started jumping me. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. I go get a water hose and spray it on, pour a bucket of water on them, something different. But I will never again jump between a couple if they're like full engaged. If I do, I grab a dude, throw him off, but then I'm backing up because couples fighting is stupid. Y'all, I don't get it. It's like he whooping your ass, but then all of a sudden you want to jump on the man because he's snatching up on your dude. But I don't stand idly by. Most men don't stand idly by. If there's a strange woman that you don't know anything about her, you're going to try to manage the situation. They're just gonna mace them. Just mace the whole crowd. Now, if I was driving down the street and I saw a woman being attacked, matter of fact, shit, I just remember. I did. I just remember. I was over. Yeah, I mean, I can say this, but y'all wouldn't know what I'm talking about. I was over in Mechanicsville area, the part of Atlanta. I was over in Mechanicsville area, and I'm driving up this street, up the hill, and the only thing I saw this guy jump out this car, run, attack this girl, and trying to grab her purse. So I'm thinking he's purse snatching. The girl is struggling, so she didn't let go. She's struggling. So I jump out the car. There was another young lady in the car with me. I jump out the car. I run over, And I grabbed the dude, and I'm grabbing the dude, getting ready to pull him off. Then this freaking cop comes, tackled the shit out of all of us, right? And but then I pinned the guy down, got my knee on his back, pinned the guy down. The cop is trying to talk to the girl, and the guy is just talking the whole time like, "Man, she just stole from me. She just stole from me. I was trying to get my shit back. I trailed her, and she just stole from me." He just saying this. I automatically assumed, so it was a whole thing. Uh, then I got surrounded by a whole bunch of his people, and they was like, "Let him go, let him go." And, you know, shit. Now I'm surrounded by like 7, 8, 9 people. The cop is telling them they need to back off, and it's a whole damn mess going on. One dude actually, his little brother actually swung and hit me in my damn head, and at that point, I was like, "Oh hell no!" So even from a down position, I punched him in his knees, and he went down. But I'm surrounded. I'm in danger now. But thankfully, some other cops started coming, but by the time they start coming, it's a whole thing. But the point was, like Skybox said, they like to put it on everybody. But no, I saw a woman in distress. I didn't know the situation. I didn't care for to know the situation at the moment. I just knew I saw a dude attacking a woman, thinking he was a person. Now, I did go back and find out from the police report that the girl did steal from this guy, and he was just trying to get his stuff back, and they've been driving around looking for him, right? So I did find that part out later on. But this idea that we don't do this, we don't protect, that's the bullshit. That's utter nonsense. But if I know you, like if I had known that little girl and I knew that that girl was a thief, and the dude came up and all he was doing was, because he didn't hit her, he was just pulling on her person. And I known she was a thief, I probably would have sat there like, caught her ass for stealing, and went on about my way. So you done that. Woman jumped on your back after he was slapping the shit out of her in public. Yeah, but it is quite irritating with all these people who want to come on there and talk about how black men ain't this, black men ain't that. And I'm gonna say, I'll be honest with you. When I'm listening to most of these uh, people, I'm gonna be biased real quick. When I'm listening to most of these women, these black women who I see on these TikToks and whatnot, they're talking about how black men don't do and black men don't do, they don't protect. And I'm looking at these women, and then I'll go through, I'll look at their Facebook, I'll search them out, see what kind of person is talking all this nonsense. And 9 times out of 10, I'm looking at the profile, I'm looking at the videos they put out, I'm looking at their family structure, I'm looking at everything in the background of their videos and stuff. And I'm like, you ain't got a man because you don't qualify for it. Not the man that you want, let me put it that way. The man that you want, you don't qualify for it. I know who that sounds like, but there's truth to some of the things that he was saying. Just his delivery was very rough. But if you like, am I sick? Oh, shit, I am. I'm not a perfect man. Not perfect at all. Not claiming to be perfect. But there are certain situations of a woman that does not qualify to be. And women get all bent the hell out of shape when a man says that. But you flip that, and every woman thinks that she is qualified for every level of man. Every level of man. And that simply is not true. Simply is not true. No woman who thinks that just because she has a good job, that she should have a man who's like an 8, 9, 10. Most men will look at her, but she she self-admits that physically she is, what do you call herself, 5'6". She self-admits that she is a 5'6" physically. But she deserves an 8, 9, 10 because of her personality and the amount of money. And yeah, I was like, bullshit. Bullshit. You don't qualify for a man because of how much money you make. And if there are qualifications for a man to a woman, why wouldn't there be qualifications for a woman to a man? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Matter of fact, if you want to, this whole thing just, this whole battle of genders, battle of sexes, just irritates the hell out of me. Because when I look through some of those women's profiles and I'm looking at them, I'm like, you shooting videos and you got clothes and shit all over the floor, all on the bed, all on hanging on chairs. You wouldn't qualify to be with me just for that one reason. That one reason alone. I couldn't be with a woman whose house is unkept. You gotta go. But that woman would tell me that I should. Women would say that, well, you a man, you should come in and help her out. So if a dude is struggling, should a woman come in and help him out? I mean, we got to be fair with this. There's always a situation where the man is supposed to come and do every goddamn thing, and the woman is supposed to sit there. She's all carrot, and he's all stick. And that's this idea. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that's not the mindset of people that you see on here. There's a few. There's a few that get it. But the ones that are allowed, the ones, people are attracted to the negative commentary. They're attracted to the negative. See, now, if I was being all negative and stuff right now, that damn TikTok would have about 400 people. It would. Because I noticed that's how that works. These people are attracted to the negative. Because it floods the chat and makes it hard to focus. That's how much right in the chat. If your mama didn't tell you, if your mama didn't tell you a girl keeps her stuff, it's clean, and she keeps her house. I don't understand. I will say, without punctuations, I'm not understanding what you're saying. I know y'all going with the whole going back and forth by him typing in caps. I find it irritating myself, but I just ignore it. If your mama didn't tell you a girl keeps her stuff is clean and she keeps her house. Most people don't realize you attract the same energy that you give. So to those people are like, I'm always attracting these ratchet folks. That's because most likely they're ratchet. Yep. And I would agree. I would agree with that one 100% because you are going to attract what you are always. All that opposites attract is bullshit. That's some bullshit. I am a decently more neat than the average guy person. Like I came down here, I'm looking at my desk right now, and it's gonna get some work today. You know, the rest of the house, but me and Angie couldn't be together if I was like throw shit all over. I've been in those situations where I was with somebody and they can't keep their house clean. I had to let them go. Now, if you saw them out on the street, you saw their car, you saw the way they dressed, you would think that this was a very organized and clean woman. You know, she smelled good, everything. But you walk in that damn house, a whole nother story. I had to change the way I process things. I was like, nah, you know, I met you, I video chat you without you knowing it, and let me see your house. If they said no, I'm not gonna see the inside of my house. All right, we done. We done. Because anybody can clean up before I show up. You saying a mom teaches their son what kind of woman to find? I think sons have a tendency to look for women like their mothers. But my mom never taught me. I've never heard of. I mean, I know some have. Say the audio pausing a little bit, maybe because I'm leaning back. It's not about reading my. Oh, yeah, I did have this one client. I went into her back. I was like, "Let me use your restroom." I went to use her restroom. Rest of the house was clean. That restroom looked like hell on a stick. And then, yeah, after we stopped training, she tried to talk to me, and I was like, "Nah, we not talking." That bathroom had a black ring around the toilet and all that stuff. You got to go. Like how a person takes care of their car if it's all trash on the inside. Did experience that one. Met this girl, went on a date, a meetup lunch. Uh, Walked into her car. She got cereal, old cereal all over the car, newspapers and empty fast food bags and shit all in the car. There was no room for anybody to get in the thing. It was a minivan at that. And I was like, oh, I never called her back. Never called her back. But men are supposed to be accepting of that, whereas women are not accepting of a man. Oh, you live in an apartment on this side of town. You're not worthy of me. You drive this type of car with no rims on it. You're not worthy of me. You 5'8". You're not worthy of me. You you know. There's all these. It's okay for a woman to cast a man aside for not measuring up to her standards, but it's wrong when a man has standards and says that a woman got to live up to my standards. If you came to me and you got small children, hell no, you're not gonna happen. You got 3, 4 baby daddies, not dealing with it, not gonna happen. Uh, Not that I'm judging the person because they of that. It's just I don't want to have to deal with 3 other male egos. You know, I don't want to deal with it, especially and no matter how old the kids are, I don't want to deal with it because there's still going to be there might be some grandkids, might be some weddings, all this stuff. If that joke is still involved, I'm not going to deal with it. Are y'all talking to me or y'all talking about something else? I'm because I don't understand it. Go on. Mastery of the domain is mastery of oneself and includes our body. Yeah, and you are exactly right, President Gibson. Uh, I can look at that woman who got hit by whatever and tell that she has a disorganized life and a disorganized situation. Because people who got their house in order, they organizing your house is like organizing your mind, organizing your life. Uh, the ratchet people don't live an organized life. And I see her that way. Looking at all the videos that before they banned, TikTok has now banned her account. But before they banned her account, I went and looked at a bunch of her stuff and I was like, no. She is an attention seeker. So no. Not dealing with it. Alberta, Canada. Let's see how long. You ain't did nothing to me for me to come at you like that. What are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about, Sam. I haven't done anything to you for you. You ain't did nothing to me for me to come at you like that. Okay. Why some women be straightening up their act after they? Oh, okay. I'm with you. I got you, Sam. Why some women be straightening up their act once they have 3 or more kids? Now, Terrence, I don't. There's, we all go through a process. We all get to a point where we learn, we grow, we have epiphanies, we change. Like this lady, she could change one day. 10 years from now, she could be a totally different person, to the good or to the bad. Yeah, you done had 3 kids. You might change up and say, you know what? Let me get my life in order. Let me square this away. Let me get some help. Let me get my mind right. Let me organize my house, organize my body, organize, my lifestyle, and they change. That's fine. That past doesn't change. So when you get when you out there seeking again, don't expect everybody to be accepting of your past. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta pay. I gotta pay. I've been married multiple times. To some women, that's a turnoff. They like, hell no. And here's the thing, I just respect that. If a woman looks at me and says, "Oh, you've been married too many times, so something wrong with you," okay, all right. And I can't fully trust what you're saying because you're just telling your one-sided story. Okay, you don't know me well enough because I'm gonna tell you everything. I'm gonna tell you where I messed up as well as where I didn't. But hey, if Angelina would have said, "Oh, you've been married too many times, you know, dated too many people," I don't want to date you. I'd have told her she's missing her blessing, but it'd be all right. I would have been fine. She would have been fine at the end of the day. Right? Everyone should have a dark night of the soul. Does wonder. What is that? I know there's a Batman movie called Dark Knight of the Soul, an animated movie. That's all I know about that one. I don't know what. You mean going deep inside? But the same criteria, like if my thing is be accepting of you, women have to be just as accepting of men not wanting to qualify them for a relationship with them in the same way that men have to be accepting of that with women. Angie could have said, you know what, I'm watching you, bro, you work like 12 to 14 hours a day, every gay. No. And she could have missed her blessing again. Yes, I'm gonna keep saying that because that's an inside joke between her and I. But and that's fine. I would have been perfectly fine with that. In all honesty, I would have been like, she has a right to do that. She has a right to choose. But why is it that men don't get that right? Why we don't get that right? Just like there's crazy men, just like there's crazy men that would follow a woman into the bathroom because he's worried she's going to cheat. They got some women that are fatal attraction, end up with a boiling cat and it's between love and hate. You don't know. You do have some men that are out here. They're very controlling. They want to determine how you live, what you eat, how you breathe, where you go, how you dress, who you can talk to, isolate you from your friends. You got to walk away from that. Actually, after one has accepted the actual truth, the despair, depression, and anger that comes with it, and forming the ether, out of the ether, and a new person with a different perspective, like a bison through a storm. People don't accept the truth for themselves. That is one thing that I have grown to understand. Last night was your birthday. Happy born day. I was in despair and I woke up this morning anew, and now I can reevaluate. I do that every year around my born day. I reevaluate my day, my year, and my life. But okay, I get what you mean by dark night of the soul. But we do have to go through. We should. Everybody needs to be real about who they are. Half these people out here are walking around with an unrealistic idea of who they really are. They think that they're one way, but they're really not. They think that they're, you know, I had a lady, I know this lady, she was like, I'm a 10. Everybody in the room was looking like, no, you're not. You are lying to yourself. I'm glad that you have confidence, but you're not. Your lifestyle, the way you, I mean, physically, no. But your lifestyle, no. Your mouth, no, not a 10. Your thought process, not a 10. Hell no. The drama that comes with, no, not a 10. Oh, coming out the other end. Gotcha. Running to the storm. People don't know high value men or high value women. What was that dude name? Who kind of put that phrase in the forefront? Um, God damn, I can't think of his name. I mean, because he was right in in the thought process. Yeah, Kevin Samuels. He was right in the thought process. Certain men of certain caliber are only going to allow certain women of certain caliber to qualify to be with them, and it goes the other way. Certain women of certain caliber are only going to allow for certain men to be with them. The problem was people thinking that they deserve a quality of another person that's way higher than the quality that they really are. That's the bullshit. That was he delivered it rough, but sometimes people need it rough. But I think sometimes we went overboard. thing, you know, you had these. I remember the one where someone was saying that I can help him with his business. Like, man is already succeeding well within his business. What do you need you for? That's not the value add that he's looking for. What's up, eyes wide open? Hell, I had to deal with that. Person thought that they brought more value to the table than they really did and was requesting. I was like, you know, show me the value add. I do not see the value add. So no, you don't get it. So where is it? Not there. You know, I tell people, you know, men are real simple. We tell you exactly what we desire, what we need in order for us to be happy. It doesn't take much. I guarantee every guy on here probably got about 4 things that are simply stated that would make them happy, and they wouldn't, and they'd be good. Yeah, asking for $100,000 man, and she makes 40,000 with 2 kids. Yeah, that would be that. That's not gonna happen. If I'm a single man making $100,000 a year, and you come in, you making 40,000, which men most of the time men don't give a shit how much money a woman makes. Uh, it's not about how much money a woman makes. It's whether or not you're going to be an asset or you're going to uh, drain it. How much of my 100,000 are you going to cost? You know, your asset or your liability. And then if you're coming in, I'm single, you're coming in with 2 kids. Now that's 3 possible liabilities. There's definitely 2 liabilities. So those 2 kids ain't bringing any assets to the relationship, into the relationship. Now, is she an asset or a liability? So she may not qualify. She probably don't qualify. He's probably not going to entertain that. It would help if we didn't bring parental issues into a relationship, but everybody's bringing some kind of baggage. It's how you manage that baggage that's important. So, like, there were times in my life where I was like broke as shit, and I ain't trying to date. I was like, I ain't trying to date. I would tell them, look, I'm not dating. We can hang out, we can talk, but that's about it. I'm not trying to be in a relationship because at the time I wasn't even an asset to myself. So we're not going there. I knew that I didn't qualify. The relationships are draining, like wine. You're either effing or fighting. In between that, you're happy because you don't want to make yourself uncomfortable and make somebody. Uh, no, I mean I don't. Relationships can be that way. I have found relationships to be. If you get the right relationship, it can be great for you. Maintaining it, yeah. But if people were honest with me from the very beginning, the majority of relationships I've ever been in, I would have never been in because I'm very upfront. But you got to break some eggs if you want to make an omelet, right? I don't know if that comment was towards Ron or was towards me, but I think everybody's always still going through their spiritual awakening. It's not. It's a never-ending process. That's what I mean. Like some women have unrealistic expectations of men when they don't offer. that much. Men are not like that as much. In my opinion, the women would rarely allow a man to expect more of them, but men typically allow women to expect more. Yeah, I feel you talking about. I would, yes, I agree with that, Tress. Tress, and that's like creates the double standard though. Men are expected to put up with more from a woman and take on more from a woman, but a woman is not expected to do that for a man. Not even realizing that the majority of things that a man wants is respect, peace, sex, and fun and food. Those are the majority of things that a man wants. And some of those things coincide with one another. But it's like, well, I'm tired. I don't feel like giving sex. If he ain't making a certain amount of money, I'm not gonna respect him. Like money ain't got shit to do with the respect that I garner. I should get the respect because of how I treat you, how I manage the relationship, how I manage our situations. Am I putting you in the best possible situation I can put you in? Am I goaling for something to move you into the situation that you want to be in? You know, from time to time, I ask Angie, what would be a perfect date? What would be a perfect vacation? Those sorts of things. Yeah, part of it, the whole reason I'm asking is I'm gaining information, right? I'm understanding what moves her, what would make her happy. But how many women ask men that question? How many women do that? Ask that question of their man and then go do it. But most women don't. Be careful with the most. Don't come off that head like the other nationality women before I didn't. Uh, and yeah, when you have a restrictive woman, that's going to be hard for a man to stay with. Yeah, it's hard to when you're if it's so jacked up where men are expected to take on all the responsibilities of being the other side of happiness for a woman. And the reason I say the other side of happiness for a woman, because everybody got to make themselves happy first. But then the other side of the happiness is your partner's responsibility. If a man is faltering on that, he's not respected nor looked upon as a man. But a man is supposed to be accepting and patient and grow and teach the woman to do that. But are most of these women teach? But are women how what percentage would y'all say of women are teaching? If you're a woman on here, are you the best women are the balance standing and the divine feminine? I know a few diamonds in the rough. And actually that's one of the things I tell my son. Boy, it's a whole lot of rocks out there. It's funny, I saw a video where the lady said that and I was like, damn, that's what I always tell my son. It's a whole lot of rocks out there. You can pull over on the side of the street and pick up any goddamn rock. You gotta dig. You gotta work to find a diamond. And actually I don't use diamonds. My bad. I use like emeralds. Because diamonds are actually a diamond dozen. Diamonds are everywhere. Diamonds are easy to find. But I understand how the analogy goes. There's a false market for diamonds, so it's hard for me to use that because of the false market for diamonds. But I tell them that an emerald is more precious than a diamond. It's hard to find it. Your new rule is not to date any woman who never had a relationship with her father. I've heard some guys do that one. That literally makes a narcissistic woman. What, a woman that's standing in her divine feminine? Well, I think that that divine feminine standing in your divine masculine, there is a balance. Everybody has to have a balance of their masculine and their feminine. When we really look at it, we have created an imbalance in our masculinity and our feminine and feminine. So, like a balanced male, he knows how to protect, but he also knows how to nurture. But so does a balanced female. She knows how to protect, but she knows how to nurture. They know when to do it, when not. They know what their levels of being able to do it is at. If when there's a okay, there was a situation where a dude disrespected Angelina. Now she could have jumped up and said something, but I was there. She stayed in her divine feminine, while I went all up into my divine masculine. Right now, there's some other times, and this was a heavy disrespect. So she understood this being a heavy disrespect. He gonna handle this, right? Because this could turn into some scrapping disrespect. So he gonna handle it. There's been other occasions where some dude has said something a little out of pocket, but it was light, and she stepped into her divine masculine and she handled it. Because she knew that if she had said it, if I heard it, if I had heard it, I probably would have went overboard in that masculinity on that one. So there was a balance. We both managed the situation based on the situation in balance of our own masculinity and femininity. If you understand what I'm saying. Right. No woman wants a mama's boy. You don't. You want to. You don't want some dude who's already running to his mama, telling his mama everything, being a little wimp. Because that's gonna hurt you, and he ain't gonna know when to protect and at what levels to protect that. Right. And diamonds can have issues with clarity. You know what? I'm gonna start stealing that when women like, "Ooh, I'm a diamond." I'm saying, but you clouded. Your cut ain't right. I don't like that cut. So you can't give me ammunition like that. So you're saying that women who don't have a relationship with their fathers are typically narcissistic. In my experience, I can agree with that. Can I say that for the whole? I can't. But in my experience, I can agree with that. Blame that on American culture. There's a problem we have no culture or history. I won't say we don't have culture, and we do have history. Now, can our history go back as far as some people? No, uh, it can't. Our direct, but our history as a people does go back as far as anybody else. Right? We just have to learn it, and that history is not going to unite us because we're going to be at odds with each other, just like everybody's going to be at odds with each other. But we do have things in present day that should be. We have common enemies. We have common goals. We should be able to unite them. Belizean women will kill you, so we let them handle. You can't put that on all Brazilian women. I mean, Belizean women. I know quite a couple few Belize women from Belize. They sweet. That's like I know every run-in I've had with a Puerto Rican woman has been rough and tumble, but I'm not gonna put that on all Puerto Rican women. And if a woman, I met a woman and I was single and she was Puerto Rican, I'm gonna watch you for a while. You're gonna take a longer look than somebody else. You got to look at each person individually for themselves, whether they had a father in their life or not have a father. I know some women who didn't have a father in their life, and they're as sweet and kind and understanding and as they can possibly be. Everybody has different experiences, so everybody has to be looked at individually. So maybe if she wasn't so ratchet or masculine, it would have changed the situation. That's what if you're talking about the young lady with the brick, so-called brick, that's what the community people are saying is that she had that issue. Then they're saying the video was old, like a week old. She just appeared out of nowhere. Nobody actually saw her take the injury, and she just claimed and blamed it on black men. But all of that is speculative because it's different stories. Say your mom is so powerful and believes that if she looks at you wrong, somebody else would do it without a clue, just to be in her good grace. That's very controlling. That's a controlling power. I and that person is a fool though, actually. Because let's say I'm in Belize and your mom looks at me crooked and then some dude want to come and attack me. That dude about to get his feelings hurt off of some stuff that he don't even know what's going on. That don't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. But this is why I teach my daughters the way I teach. This is why I remind them uh, that the first line of protection is their own personality, their own attitude, the environments they place themselves in. You don't drink to get drunk because you are putting yourself in a situation where you can be taken advantage of, or you might do something stupid. You don't do that. You are very aware of who you're around, what type of people they are, the whole game. Your mom helps to pour out a lot. Okay, but it doesn't mean she's perfect. Nothing against your mom, but just the idea of if she looked at somebody wrong, people are going to attack that person. That's not a good quality. Get some sleep, Ron. And I remember working overnight, and it's not fun. Well, that's good. I don't know your mom. I'm just basing it off what you said. Um, but if she's doing good things with that control, then that's great. It's just that you said that she looks at somebody wrong and people go at them. That's not cool. But are those sweet and kind women raised by women boring in bed? Yes and no. Yes and no. Some yes, some no. And for the boring in bed ones, you got to go. Can't deal with it. If a woman is boring in bed, I'm not interested. I wouldn't be interested in that. That's why they be talking about some woman said that, oh, I want to wait till I get married. That's not gonna happen. We about to end this conversation right now. I understand what you're saying, Sam. You gotta do what you gotta do. Like I said, no disrespect to your mom. But yeah, we all have our criteria. Now I think one thing would be helpful, and this would be a wonderful thing. This would be a wonderful, 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 wonderful thing. What if everybody was just honest, straight up? What if people just honestly were just honest about everything? If you just a man just told a woman what he wants, what he's looking for, what he expects, and who he is, and he knows who he is. And what if a woman just said exactly who she is and what she wants, what she expects, what she gonna do, what she ain't gonna do? Man say what he gonna do, what he ain't. If everybody was honest, how much better off would we be? How much better would you be able to pick a person to be in a relationship with? If you just knew everything straight off the bat. I mean, have you guys ever tried that? I have. I do it. I tell a woman everything right off the bat. Exactly. The divorce rate would be lower. It would also take people longer to get married. It would take people longer to get married because you be in your 20s, like, that ain't work. That ain't gonna work. You ain't right for me. You ain't right for me. You 30, okay, maybe. No, nah, nah, yeah. It would. It would take long, and the divorce rate would be much lower because then everybody would know what the expectations are. And if everybody's honest with themselves, they will be able to say, I'm not going to be able to fulfill those needs. I can't do that. I wish that there were women who would have just said, hey, look, I need you to, we got to have the same belief. I'm going to tell you that I can respect your belief, but I'm not really going to respect your belief. Or just, I'm not as sexual as you are, so it's not going to work. Yeah. That would be great. Humans should come with disclaimers like medication commercials. You be full of shit, don't clean, can't hold a job with a tendency to cheat. Yeah, that should be. You should have a label on your shoulder, right? You just scan the label. Boop. Keep herself clean, keep a clean car, but house look like trash. Dreamer will never accomplish any of the shit that he claims that he's going to accomplish. Lazy in bed, only like missionary. All right. Super freak. Want to take some, like to draw blood and degrade you. Have a whole disclaimer. Let people know exactly who you are. That would be the best case scenario. Best case scenario. But I want to know who's ever literally told a person exactly who they were, other than me, because I know I Angie can vouch for it. She knew exactly who I am when when I decided that she was gonna date me. And I mean to say it that way, because that's the truth of it. I told her, I'm gonna date you now. You're gonna like it. But she knew everything she was getting into. All the foolishness and all the bullshit, all the great shit, but all the bullshit too. I told her straight off the bat. I see what's one of the negative things I told her. One of the negative things I told her is that I can procrastinate. It can happen. I'm better than I used to be, but it still happens. Like I still haven't called the new lawn people today. I know you sent me the text. I'm gonna call them. But I was supposed to call them people like a week ago. Now the grass is starting to grow a little bit, so I need to call them. But I told her straight up, sometimes I will procrastinate, and she's a get shit done kind of person. But I told her all the stuff. Is that on the beginning or the ending of the relationship, the label? Now you need a label in the beginning, and then you probably need a new label when it's over for any changes that happen. Now, and you're right, we have to be honest with ourselves, and that's where growth. You got to have that growth. This is one reason why, and yes, I forbid my children to get married prior to the age of 27. You cannot get married before 27. It's not going to happen. Even when my middle child's boyfriend came and asked me about asking uh, my middle child about getting married. One, he asked me at the worst possible moment. You know, this fool asked me, and I was mad as hell at him, and I called him a fool. And I told him, "Are you freaking kidding me that you're asking me at her grandmother's wake? No, what do you call the thing? It's not a wake. Repast is what they call it. You asking this question at a repast for her grandmother, a woman I've known since I was 15 years old. Are you serious?" And then I told him, hell no. Hell no. Neither one of y'all know each other, know yourselves yet enough to make that kind of decision. So hell no. Have a 6-month review. Yeah. I review myself every year. It takes because it takes longer for adults to mature. Grandparents got like my grandmother got married when she was like 15, 16, and I think my grandfather was 21, some shit like that. 22. Straight up coal miner's daughter. I did my job. You did your job after they were born. No, man. Hell no. Your job is to continue to parent them until you die. Parenting never ends. There's no such thing as you're done with your job with your children. You're constantly parenting. And it's not a pet peeve, it's a thing of maturity, of learned life. Majority of we're not back in the day where women didn't have options of divorce, options of being able to make a living for themselves. So when I see a lot of people like, oh, my grandparents were married for 50 years, 60 years, they never got divorced. Shit, your grandmother didn't have an option back in the day. They used to be able to slap shit out your grandmother. She couldn't make enough money to take care of the kids and all that. They put up with a bunch of bullshit. They put up them dudes having multiple families on the side and all that stuff. So they didn't have options. Don't put a lot of credit in these long ass marriages with older people. In today's world, people got better options. Women have the ability to go and make money and live financially free of having a man. So money doesn't play the same part as it used to play back in the day. your job as a parent, you parent your child through all the stages of growth. And when they become young adults, you still have to parent them and help them make better decisions as young adults. Like my oldest girl, I kept telling her, stop renting, first of all, stop renting. Save money, stay with your mama, stay with me, save money, buy a house. She ain't want to listen. Don't go and rent. If you're gonna go rent a place, stop renting a place that you can't afford by yourself, but get a roommate so that you can save money to buy a house. She ain't want to listen. Gonna rent a place that neither one of them could afford on their own. And she kept messing up. I'm gonna keep parenting her. She finally gets it now. At 27, she finally gets it. But that's your job never stops. And that's not a pet peeve. No, they're my children. I'm going to demand and command. Certain things will be demanded and commanded. Well, I think that's the difference. My children don't have resentment towards me. And they don't do the opposite. None of my kids are married. None of my kids have children. So I'm not a grandfather. Now that one financial because she likes to hang out and go do shit. There are certain things that they're gonna listen to, certain things they're not. And I don't control their lives. There are certain things that are explained to them, and there's an explanation behind it. It is not don't get married till you're 27. It's look, you don't want to get married till you're 27, and here's the A, B, C, D, E, F, G of Y. You need to make sure that you know yourself emotionally, financially, sexually. You need to be able to be free to build yourself, how you want to live the rest of your life. So you don't want to have children when you're young. You want to take the time to evaluate the man. Most of these guys who are in their early 20s are not mature enough nor financially stable enough to be getting married, and taking on the responsibility of another family. My son's in the Air Force right now. You don't make enough money to take care of a family. You don't know when you're going to get shipped off anywhere. So there are rational thinking logic put behind it in order for them to understand why what I'm telling them to do is the best course of action. Now, they always have the option to do whatever the hell they want to do. But because I've demonstrated to them that this is the best course of action, 95% of the time they follow the best course of action that I give them. And I tell my kids, I've told my kids every mistake that I've made and do the opposite. Every mistake I've made, I've let them know. This is I made a mistake here, I made a mistake here, I made a mistake, I made a mistake, I made a mistake. So if you ever come into some situation that's similar to this, what you don't want to do is what I did. Because you don't want to be 51 and still got certain issues that you shouldn't be dealing with. Don't be 51 and trying to finish off this damn child support arrears so you can get your passport and leave this country. You don't want to do that. Let me tell you how not to do it. One, don't have kids yet. You're not prepared for it. If you do have kids, you got to make sure the other person, you got to know the person you're having kids with. Oh, Hughes, is that better? I know when I get back from here, I am trying some new equipment, seeing how that works. I'm never really disappointed with my kids, even when they make mistakes, because they're going to make mistakes. I expect them to make mistakes. When they make dumbass mistakes, I let them know that was a dumb mistake. Like, really? Like, that was a dumb mistake. Now look at now you got to deal with consequences. And I think that probably was the third word that each one of my children learned was the word consequence. You're going to have to deal with consequences of life. And a smart person does learn from their own mistakes, learn from their mistakes. But a brilliant person can learn from the mistakes of others. Right. The smarter person learns from the mistakes of others. And I will give my other two children more credit than the first one. Them other two, they have learned from the mistakes of me and their mom and their uncles and aunties and cousins and their older sister way better than the older sister. That one right there, her learning curve oftentimes is she has to experience something in order to learn it. But thankfully, it hasn't been, I got to experience having a child and being a single mother to learn it. I have to be bankrupt to learn this, or I got to go to jail or some dumb shit like that to learn this. The two households set my son back because he has mama, because his mama was more BS than me. I'm not perfect by far. And that could be a problem. Uh, that's why there were certain things that before I had kids, I was like, we got to get a few things squared away as to how these kids are going to be raised, what the environment's going to be. We have to come to some agreeable terms. Right now, if things don't work out, if I die, you die. You know what's going to be the situation. We had a long ass 2 month conversation before we started having kids because there were certain things that need to be put in place and was going to happen. Her experience is better than book smart. It depends. Do I have to? Does she have to experience jail in order to make sure she don't do shit that sends her to jail? Does she have to experience having a baby uh, and being a single mother? That, that experience is not better than book smart. I mean, that experience is not better than book smarts on that one. If I can read about or listen to somebody who struggled through having children and being a single mom, why? Like my mother, different era of time, of course, but my mother dropped out of school in 8th grade or something like that. She struggled after this one place closed down, Coats and Clark. She struggled to raise 3 kids by herself. Yeah, we had our grandparents and uncles and aunts and all these other people around, but she still struggled working 2, sometimes 3 jobs to take care of 3 kids. Especially in an era when things changed and when this one company closed down, she needed to have a high school diploma in order for her to get certain jobs. So she was put in this very stressful situation. I didn't have to experience that to learn that I need to get certain levels of education. My kids didn't have to experience that to learn that they need certain levels of education. They need to understand that there's an ever changing marketplace and how to make yourself valuable for the marketplace. But nah, we not doing that. We ain't got to experience everything. Unfortunately, I haven't been to jail for like, oh, you going to jail because I committed some major crime. But I did that driving on a suspended license when I didn't know it was suspended, and then got to spend like all them hours in there. I know that I'm not going. Nah, no, you're not gonna get me to commit a crime that's gonna send me in jail for years. most time I ever spent in jail was a week. That was good enough. That was good enough. That shit ain't happening. No. The first time where I missed like 6 months. Well, I didn't miss all 6 months, but I wasn't paying the full amount for 6 months, and because I just wasn't making it, because it was what 1380, and them jokers showed up at my house, and I was in there for a week. I'm good. I'm good. I've been in several car accidents. Well, not several. Let's see, I've been in 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 car accidents, and none of them were fun. Sammy, you crazy. Just they threatened me with jail, put me in the hole so you can walk around naked. Ain't gonna finish the rest of it. Oh yeah, I got beyond scared straight. It wasn't the fact of okay, so y'all gotta understand me in jail is different from everybody else. One, I spent most of the time stretching, meditating, and writing, right? But for some reason, these idiots in jail, they stay up all night. I'm trying to go to sleep, and they up all night making noise and singing stupid little dumb ghetto rap songs and like go to sleep. Why y'all up all night? And then they want to try to sleep throughout the day, but then they come in there and wake and make them get up out the bed, and then they sitting around doing singing these rap songs all day. It wasn't even the imprisonment for that week actually allowed for me to gain some clarity. I found a little corner that I could sit in and meditate and wind up by the third day. I had a couple of other guys coming and sitting and meditating and stretching with me as well. And we would talk about the stuff that we're talking about now. Well, not now, but spiritual stuff. But them other fools, and then the food. Oh, food. Oh. So it's the people. At that time frame, after I left, I appreciated the quiet for a minute of being able to think and meditate. Hell no, I ain't become a Muslim. Dude, actually, when I was in there, that was the time frame when I was making these videos. Uh, right after, as a matter of fact, right after that, when I got out of there, about a few months later, that's when I first made that video uh, questioning everybody's response to Kevin Wesley, and all of a sudden, my videos started getting more popularized. But it actually provided a lot of. The quiet was good because there was a lot. I had too many things going on outside of there at the time. Yep. That week in the no-tell motel. Now, I would prefer taking a week and going up into the mountains, turning off my cell phone, and just going dark for a week. I prefer that over going to jail though, because the food was horrible and the company was worse. The company was much much worse because, and I'm about to switch up a little bit. Uh, because sometimes you need to go and be quiet. You need to go and take some time and be quiet. Old boy minister said he wasn't there long enough. Hell no. Um, we all need to go and take some time to be quiet. I used to, after that experience, I did begin to take at least a weekend to be quiet. No cell phone, no nothing. Just weekend, either the mountains or the beach, but most of the time it was the mountains. I gotta emphasize the mountains. Somebody loves the beach, but you go into the mountains and just commune with nature and commune with yourself. No outside influences. You forget what the world is, what's going on in the world. There was only one time where that got interrupted. There was a guy who was shooting up cops and everybody in Atlanta. I forgot that guy's name, but he and I favor. So I had people calling the house up there, talking about, man, where you at? Because, and I wound up staying an extra day because I was like, I ain't leaving the mountain until they catch that food. Because I didn't even leave the house. I didn't even go to the store or restaurant. I forgot his name. Somebody, I think it's something Jordan. Brian Nichols. Brian Nichols. If you go look up Brian Nichols, I can see how the cops, that would be one time I would not have blamed the cops for saying, you look like the suspect. But the thing about we should all take that time. That's going to happen probably towards the end of October, early November. That I'm gonna, Angie don't know about it yet. Don't tell her. But we're probably gonna disappear for a weekend. Ain't talking to nobody. Leave us alone. No social media. Nothing. Just quiet. Just enjoy nature. Spend some time. Re-energize yourself. Soak up some of that earth energy. Come back revitalized. Evaluate your whole life. Because we're surrounded by stuff. I mean, I'm sitting here, even though I'm in my house right now, nice greenery out there, grass needs to be cut. But you still got the cars and stuff going up and down the street. Power lines all over the place. You still got all that. You need some quietness, reflection. Because, like, for us, for most of us who's deconstructed from religion, because that's what these channels are actually about. I just wanted to say something about that whole situation with the brick girl, but mainly about how we treat each other. I think we will learn to treat each other better if we get more in touch with ourselves and know who we really are. And one of the best ways to do that is go out and commune with nature. Go sit by flowing water, whether it's a river, waterfall, ocean, water that's moving. Be out there with, some of the insects I can't stand, but like it's about 4 or 5 butterflies out in my yard right now. But just sit out there with the butterflies. I think yesterday we had a hummingbird came up to the window. And just really, get involved, do some shadow work. Get to know that part of you that's in the darkness. Reveal some of your traumas that you haven't really dealt with yet. Because you're not dealing with them while you're around all these people. You're not dealing with them when you go to these churches or these mosques or synagogues. You're not dealing with them. You know what? Not this year, but next year, we're going to plan a retreat. We're going to plan a retreat next year, somewhere. We're going to do a retreat. Yep. We're going to plan a retreat. Get one of them 15-bedroom houses up in the mountains somewhere. How many of y'all be down for that? How many of y'all be down for that? Not in the city, not where you're distracted by everything that's going around. We're gonna go up into the mountains. Nah, bro, you ain't gonna be able to get my cigar and put weed in it. I know the difference. I know the difference. I smell my cigars before I smoke. Don't be making them eyes, Andy. Angelina's making them eyes because she knows most of the planning. She know I'm not doing most of the planning. Debbie says she is. I knew that. Debbie, I know I can count on you. There's some people I already expected. Oh, who said it was from? You're not gonna cut open a cigar, but you get them little leaves and they put it. You can get the tobacco leaves if people do that, but you ain't about to spend $7, $8, $10, $15 for a cigar and then cut it open and dig it out and put. No, yeah, that's a waste of money. But yeah, we're gonna figure that out. So I know Debbie in. Samuel seemed like he in. He bringing the weed cigar. Uh, you know, ain't about weed, but you give us some shrooms, that's a whole nother deal. Dude, you would not waste the money crystal like that. No, Cubans, hell, waste of money. I might fight you for real then, Sam. We're gonna fight. We're gonna blow the blow. No, but yeah, we're gonna plan a retreat up in the mountains. I'm selfish. It'll be the Georgia or Tennessee mountains, more than likely. I know Debbie's in Texas. Uh, true, they are cheap and you can buy them in Cuba. But I know some of the people in Australia and all that kind of stuff in Canada. That's a long trip. But yeah, we plan. We do some meditations. We do some grounding. Uh, we do have some talks. Do some talks on further growing our spirituality and whatever pathway we've chosen. We talk about, talk about chakras, about hermetics, astral traveling. For those who would want to shrooms, I'm not advocating that anybody do shrooms. Understand that. It's not what I'm advocating. But there'll be some around. Nature walks, all that. Yeah. Don't hook that up, Angelina. You missed the mountains. You were born in Arizona. Uh, nah, nah. Have you been to the mountains on the East Coast? It's a totally different experience than the mountains on the West Coast, unless you're up in Colorado somewhere. Arizona mountains, they brown. You gotta come see these green mountains, these flowing rivers, waterfalls. Not the uh, your. I remember being in Arizona, and them mountains was. I was like, oh, they need some trees on them mountains. What was we at? I think I was in Phoenix. Yeah, that was Phoenix. And I rode the bike over to some mountain pass. Rode those. That was pretty cool. But the California mountains had some. They had more trees. Y'all don't really have trees. Need some trees. Go out and hug a tree. Talk to the tree. Feel the energy of the tree. Be a true tree hugger. Yeah, that's a good question, Angelina. What are good months for everyone to travel? And I know some people are going to respond to this whole question portion later on, so make sure you do respond because we will go back and look at it. But what would be a good month for people to travel? Is it now? We don't do the cold. We do the cold now. So don't start talking about March, April. We need some of them May, like May through September. Depending on where, you can even go to October. And it's not cold. So definitely say what's a good month for travel for you. Uh, we'll figure it out to where you fly into Atlanta on a given day, and we have like a sprinter, and we take that sprinter up to we drive the sprinter about 3 to 4 hours up to the mountain, and we have like a 3 4 day event. Well, not first time. I want to get on y'all nerves. So like a long ass weekend, like do a Friday and then come back to the airport on Monday, kind of thing. I don't even know what that is, Samuel. But yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a spiritual retreat. Spiritual retreat. Actually, it's funny. Me and Angie somewhat talked about that. I think was that this morning. I think it was this morning. I said that to her as a joke. But yeah, we're gonna do that. But there's really not much more to this conversation than what's already been said. I really think we need to really get to know ourselves more, uh, be honest with ourselves, always keep ourselves in a position where we oh, that was this morning. I thought so. Yeah, keep ourselves in a position where we don't endanger ourselves and other people. And I do like the idea of taking a spiritual retreat for about 3 days, figure out everything this month, next month. That way, price points can be given, and that way, and then due dates for certain amounts of money to be paid in order to facilitate it. I think that'd be cool. That'd be fun. That'd be great. What's a good travel month for you, Debbie? Or month time frame? We need extended time frame, and it has to be warm. Nobody's doing it in the cold. The background check's done. Ah, yeah, I got a background check for you. Act a fool if you want to. You become bear food. Don't take the spirituality for weakness. You can become bear food. It is not that hard. You to get consumed by a bear if you want to get out there in the woods and act stupid around a bunch of other people and try to have some do some foolishness. But we're gonna do that. Sammy, you crazy. Ain't nobody doing all that stuff. Nope, nope. And I know you just playing. We'll have a good time. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Otherwise, we're going to call it a day. I know there's a delay, so I'm going to give it a few minutes. Any other subject matter? I don't know. This delay. I don't know how long this delay is. About a minute. A minute is a long time. Exactly. And you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, yeah, other than tell us a month, a time frame. Ever met a vampire? Like the movie kind of vampire? No. Uh, energy suckers? Yes. I've met people who they are energy vampires. I've met some of them. Oh, girl, March is still too cold on this side of the planet. I know over there where you at, March is probably warming up, but March, you still got some low degrees around here. You could still be in the 40s in March over in the East Coast up in the mountains. But I have met some people who were energy vampires. Uh, they thrive on draining the energy from other people. You know, they're toxic. So I've met some of them. I usually stay away from them. Like a person who is constantly, every time I'm around them, I can feel them sucking the energy out of me. I will stay away from that person. I start to remove myself from their presence. I don't allow them to be there. I've had some that come on social media, and I can tell the person is of that nature. So I'll ignore the shit out of them. Like I won't even read their comments. I just let them and leave them. You know, let them be who they are and just leave them alone. Sometimes I've told people in the comment, hey, stop talking to such because they nothing but, they trying to distract. They're nothing but energy vampires. Just let them leave them alone. Don't even talk to them. Do Masons teach y'all to wear gold, copper, and silver to protect from them? No, not any Masonic lodges or groups of Masons or anything like that I've ever encountered. I've never no. Uh, we just talk about now symbolism, yes, but not in the sense of protection because most of your Masons in America are Christian, so they kind of vacillate between hardcore Christian beliefs and more of your esoteric Christian beliefs. Now, if you're around some esoteric Christians, they're going to talk about wearing symbols and objects in order to protect you, but it's really a mind thing. You have to stay away from your sister. She drains your energy more. Yeah, they always they bring drama, initiate drama, start drama just so they can suck your energy away, or they can suck it out the room, and then they are revitalized by that. They get revitalized by all the energy that they take out of the room or take out of people, and you can watch them get stronger and become more energetic while everybody else is depleted. So I just remove myself from those people's presence and don't talk to them. Some I have went as far as to tell them what they were, you know. So I just remove like I have family members I have to leave alone like that. You asking some crazy ass questions, Cowboy. Can cowboy hat fit people with locks on their head? Yeah, if it's big enough, just have to size it right. Just have to size it right. Uh, Shrine of Morocco nobility, black nobility. What you want to know? Oh, I just got asked to become a Shriner, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Compliment. And I don't have time. Is that what they describe how archons are like? It's got to remove them. The archons. I was saving that for a video though because there's a Zulu story about the moon and Earth and the archons that I was going to do later. All what symbols come back to sex? Because not all symbols have a relation to sex. Because this symbol originally had nothing to do with sex. It's just people began using this, and this was created to protect. This was created as a protection from people's evil thoughts, negative thoughts about it. The only time it had any sexual connotation was when Christians in the Middle Ages used to say that this was the hand of Mary, and they believed it protected. It helped them become more fertile and protect against what we now know as cryptid. Are you a Mason? Do you work with Saint Michael? No, I don't do. I don't do that kind of magic. I don't do that kind of thing. People, oh, I'm gonna work with this deity, that, this energy, that energy, that. I don't. I work my own energy. You can't be because of your name and your last name and etymology. That would be new to me. I've never heard of somebody's name being a reason for them not to be not. You're talking about the Masons. They wanted you to join. It's only like 150 bucks for a lifetime membership. But if I tell you their secrets, it's bad for you and they'll even feel. Their drama, contrite, negative energy is always a leech strain. And they always try to look for the brightest, most pulsating, radiant light everywhere. I don't have my glasses on. I'm close up there. Yep, they do. I don't know who told you that Masons do weird things. I don't know who told you that it's $150 for a lifetime membership because it's certainly not $150 for a lifetime membership. It actually costs you way more than that. That's just for you to get into. That's just for your initiation. It's $150, and each jurisdiction has different amounts of money that they require for your each degree. You wind up paying money for each degree because some of it goes to the up chain, other goes towards all your books and your clothing and all that other sorts of thing as well, and to keep the lights on. But it is not a if you tell me they will kill you. I can go out here and tell every secret of masonry. Ain't nobody gonna kill me. No. But I wouldn't because I wouldn't. But weird stuff, we do not do weird things. I am a mason. mean, you're kind of like throwing out information that don't really make sense to what you're talking about. Your cousin, who Albert Hitchcock, we they own newspapers in Germany. Like, what does that mean? Uh, but no, I do get. I will challenge when people say things about organizations that they don't really know anything about. They're just going based on what somebody said. What somebody who's never been a part of the organization, never seen anything, never done anything. And this is where you just showed your hand, Samuel. There is no such thing as Scottish Rite Knights Templar. There's no such thing as Scottish Rite. Knights Templars are York Rites. They're not Scottish Rites at all. So whoever told you that, they are not telling you the truth. But there's no such thing as a Scottish Rite Knight. That is the reason why I went up the Scottish Rite side, because there are no Knights Templars in Scottish Rite. So no, somebody told you some bogus information. There's a ton of bogus information out there concerning Mason. The fact that people think that it started in England is bogus information. It actually started in Egypt. It did not start. It didn't even start in the Levant. All the relations that it has towards Solomon. But there's no, if you can, and that's not anything that hidden. You can look up in Masonic degrees, and you'll see on the Scottish Rite side there's no Knights Templar. Ah, we hold on for a second. All right. Society I looked up this person. There's nothing about them that solves any problem that shows anything to what you're talking about. Oh wait, I put the wrong name in. Okay, I put in Kermit Hensinger. And all I see is a person who died named Kermit Hensinger. Initially, okay. I think I see what you're talking about. All right, but I don't see your point. You said it solves everything, but this is my point. It says he's a York right because there are no Scottish right Knights Templars. I looked up your guy. He's not a. And what's the point though? What's your point? See, that's one thing you will learn about me is just putting something like that. You got to have a point to it because it did solve the question. The fact that I was right. There are no Scottish right Knights Templar, but he was a Grand Master. Okay, what's the point? Now, if they allow women, then it's not a regularly constituted lodge. It's clandestine, so it's not attached to any of the organizations. But I don't see anything that says that they allow women. But anyway, which point? You cannot be born into masonry. You still have to become a mason. Just because my grandfather and most of the members of my family were masons doesn't mean that I was just born into it. What are your thoughts about the former X Factor star the child's 5 hour long exposed video about Freemasonry? She said he was a former Freemason. He was referencing Freemason books on the video. I actually haven't seen that video. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I have to look that up. Antion. Oh, I'm probably saying I'm messing up that name. So what did he talk about? Even if you're so my grandfather had the lifestyle of a Freemason, but I still, as a young person living with my grandparents, didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I learned a lot of things about him and about life that was passed on, but it wasn't until I became a Mason that I understood a hell of a lot more. And there was a lot that he did not personify and that I did not know. So there is no born into the lifestyle unless you were in a demole. And even in demole, you're not getting the full birth of it. Clan meetings are totally different, but then that's not a real Masonic lodge. If they had your grandmother, if they allow women, they. And if you're talking about being an Eastern Star, or I forgot what the little girl's little sub organization is, that's still not Masonry. What they learn is not full Masonry. But what was Marcus? What were they talking about? X Factor. Oh, I remember X Factor. What is X Factor? I'm thinking about the comic book X Factor. I don't know, and I question people when they say they were a former Freemason, um, because I have to know what lodge they were part of. Like, what's the weird stuff? What's the weird stuff? Like, come on, Marcus. You know better. You know how we do things on here. Can't just say vague shit. You gotta be specific. Very specific. What did he say? You know, were they having orgies? Did they cut sever the head of a goat? drinking from a dead skull. Um, all I can say to that is a yes and a no. It's a symbolic thing, but you don't necessarily do that thing. And it's not if you understood what it means, it's different. It has a different meaning, and I would question what degree that person reached in order for them to understand that meaning, because there's a certain degree you have to reach in order to learn what the meaning of that is. And it's not a physical thing that you do. It's kind of like when people are like, oh, they in there riding goats. No, that's a term. Like you can go and read the book, get a Duncan and read, and it'll tell you what that means. They ask you what you believe in, and that determines what door you go to. I don't know what kind of group you're talking about, but that is not Freemasonry. Because all you have to believe in is a higher power, and it cannot be any of the ones that are determined to be evil. No. Everybody doesn't choose a different path than that. See, y'all talking about stuff, you talking about stuff, and you don't know what you're talking about, Sam, to be honest. Or if these are true things that you experienced, or they were telling you, that's not a Masonic lie. That's a clandestine lie. There are plenty of those out there. One, if they had women in it, it's not a real Masonic lie. It's really that simple. So everything else you're saying, because ain't nobody banging nobody in the butt. So no, your family was involved in a fake lie. Somebody who was acting like trying to be Mason. So no, we don't do any of those. And let me put it like this: as far as drinking out of stuff, is that weird when we can archaeologically find skulls around the world that people then made into drinking utensils, like especially in some of the South American, like up in the Andes with the Incas and the Aztec Mayans. You can find that in different African tribes, European tribes, where skulls were made into drinking devices. Does that make it evil? Only because of the world we live in today. People will draw back from. But the majority of things that our ancestors did back in the day, we would draw back from that today. Yeah, but there's a difference between being fake and being fake from because you can't be a part of what is the current. And there is black nobility, as you put it, but okay, so original masonry starts in Egypt. A lot of the teachings are kind of disbanded and lost. Well, not disbanded and lost, but go deep underground. Europeans pick it up strong in the 1600s, but they picked up from what was in Egypt. Same teaching, just different names and certain differences in rituals and things of that nature, but the same teaching. But then here comes this group that's what you're speaking of. They're teaching something totally different. That's fake. You can draw back to closer to the original. Child sacrifice is a bullshit. That's one of those. That's one of those things that King of France and the Pope made up in order to shut down the Knights Templars, to shut down Adam Weishaupt, Illuminati. That's the easy one that they throw out there. There's no child sacrifice. And if they witnessed child sacrifice and didn't report it to the authorities, in most states and countries, they are held accountable for that. So I would bring skepticism to that. To me, you're going off into the conspiracy world, Samuel. What that person's name was? Al A-L-T I. Well, I couldn't pronounce it, so I know I'm not gonna be able to spell it. I'm not gonna get too deep into this because I'm hamstrung by what I can say. Altiy. Oh, so he did a TikTok animation. Okay. When X Factor long time. He said that Freemason never says Christ is bad. We don't. He said that we cover our eye. We don't do that. There's no symbol in there for that. Oh, I just read a little bit of this and I already can understand that this person is just jumping onto the bandwagon of let me make up some shit. This is publicity stunt. This your just a little bit that I read about your guy. I can see he's taking the idea of what the common conspiracy theory people are doing and just trying to get some love. Yeah, 5 hours. That's a long ass video. But you know, I try not to talk about that too much on here because I know how people can get when it comes to those types of subject matters, and that's not the thing that I'm trying to do here. I I'm not saying anybody should be one or not be one. It's a personal decision whether or not you want to be one. I know my reasons for joining to learn more things and more deeper knowledge of things, and not just accept what everybody else has said out there. I'm if you guys know me well enough to know that I go for the source. If you come on my porch, little cat, sorry. So I go more for the source of things. I'm not interested in reading and listening to a guy like that who I can't even validate whether or not he was a Mason or not. I'm probably sure I probably could. But so that's why I go. But you come on here and people get all their panties in a bunch because it's like, oh, they're all evil and then you're part of them, so you're evil. And it's like you've been following me for 9 10 years, or a year. And if that's what you think because of that is if you discount everything that I say because of that, how intelligent does that make? It doesn't. If you're, it doesn't make you intelligent at all. I don't like. Okay, I hate to use this person because it starts a whole nother bag. You know how people say Trump is just messed up. I can't say that. They feel he's totally messed up. He ain't do nothing good for the country. I can't say that. Do you know it used to take veterans decades to get their paperwork processed? But he switched it up. He did one thing that was very simple, but it was a very simple thing. He did that one thing, and it made it where veterans can get help uh, within like a year or two instead of it being 10 years. So I can't say that everything he did was wrong. Right? And I'm just using that as an example to say that everything that I'm not going to look at one part of a person and then spread that over everything they do like peanut butter. No. So that's why I try to avoid that conversation because I know a lot of people can't do that. They got to take one thing and make it all everybody jacked up. Dude, there is no different door based on your religion because it's not a religion. I don't know who told you that, who, but that doesn't happen. If that does happen, then they're doing it wrong because it doesn't matter what religion you are. So what if you Hindu? What if you Buddhist? They got doors for all the religions. Uh, oh, now you want to say when you become a 33rd. This is why I don't get into these. Are you a 33rd? Are you a 33rd? It's really. Have you been present when somebody was given that degree? With a question mark for it. You're speaking about what happens when you get to become a when you become a 33rd. Have you been to one of those? Have you been and seen it happen? Or are you basing it on what somebody said? Are you one? Did you experience it? Or are you basing it on what somebody said? And who said it? Are they one? Can they validate that? Because I've seen plenty of people claim some stuff in masonry, but then when feet get the fire, their stuff is all jacked up. Like I said, if your sister was given to a high ranking person, then you are that is not a Masonic lodge. I don't know what the hell kind of place your family is involved in, but that is they using that as a cover. But that is not. And you're avoiding my question of where are you getting this information. Anyway, moving on. I'm not talking about that. I'm done with that conversation. What do you think about all the people in the entertainment industry that throw up the Illuminati? What are your thoughts? Oh, and is that it? Um, it has it's a conspiracy aspect up to it. Do I think that there's some kind of cabal in the entertainment industry, some kind of power play that's going on? Of course, there is something. Uh, uh, See, the hard part about that is most of these organizations that are secret organizations. Yes, I am a man. Most of these organizations that are secret organizations, certain symbology is done in public so that one may know another. But for the most part, certain things are done in private so that people don't know. You don't. It's not flash all over. Yeah, you put symbols on their cars and things of that nature. I think they do it for the the, the impact of it. But I think it's more of an impact thing that people allow them. I mean, this means okay. Right? We grew up. This meant okay, but then all of a sudden I started finding out, oh, that's the 666 symbol. Isn't yeah? Because it's that one. That's the Illuminati. That's the 666. I think it's to get publicity. But do I think that there's some kind of structure, behind the scenes structures in Hollywood and music and entertainment, period? Yeah, because these people like wearing the dress. They claim they would never, Kevin Hart. I'm never gonna wear the dress, never gonna wear the dress, never gonna wear the dress. He wore the dress, career skyrocket. These guys wear the dress, black or white, doesn't matter. They wear the dress and it's skyrocket. Okay, for the last time saying I don't have a bias based on my experience. I have a bias based on what I know and what I've researched, and based on what you're saying. It's not frowned upon if you don't have money. It's frowned upon if you don't manage your money correctly, because that's part of your growth. That's part of your development of organizing your life is good money management. It's like good health management. It's all make good men better. And not treating it anecdotal. I'm telling you that if these things happen, they were not Masons. Is what I'm saying. The fact that they allowed women, they are not Masons. The fact that you're saying that they have nice temper on the Scottish right side, they're not Masons. That's what I'm saying. It's not bias. It's telling you these are the is and these are the is not. So I'm saying I'm not discounting that those things may or may not happen. What I'm saying is, if they happen, it wasn't part of the organization of Masons. So if you can get that part, that's what you got to understand. Is what I'm saying. Could have happened, not down, but it's not Mason. Some of the ancient symbols had different meanings in the past, like the swastika, right? But have changed to mean something. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Hollywood is a weird little thing, Hollyweird, as people like to call it. Uh, Wearing those symbols, making the little. Uh, Now, does it go as far as they say that they have to, butt break people? So some of these guys get bent over a desk in order for them. I'm not gonna go that far with all the Hollywood stuff, but I think most of the time when you see people throwing up those symbols, it's just for shock value. Get pressed, you know. The same people who say that that's evil, that's evil, that's evil, are spending money on Jay Z's work, music. Same people. Beyonce is just as big with the Church of Bay, and they all every year it's Super Bowl. It's always a satanic ritual at the Super Bowl halftime performance. It's always that. That's exactly what I said, Sam. I'm not saying that those things didn't happen. I'm just saying it wasn't a legitimate lodge. So I would not put that on Mason. I would put it on an illegitimate lodge. It's really that's all I'm saying. Nothing different. Nothing different from what you just said. But um, yeah, I think people like to go to the worst of everything. Like they say that the Bilderberg Group, and none of these people has been out there, not Bilderberg, Bohemian Grove. You had one person who snuck in. He got camera footage of the big owl that they were burning. But then people went off into they sacrificing babies to Moloch and they doing all these other things. It's like, but you have no proof of that. There's different sects differently, but these ones over here are not the good ones. So I'm not a good Mason, is what you think? The ones who build the Shriners Hospital, no kids get to go there and have that health care for free. Because most Shriners are. You don't have to be a Shriner. Out here raising money so these kids can go up there and get health care. They not good. Got to be mindful of finite terms. Uh, like I'm not so secret organizations rule the world kind of person. But if that was the case, then all these organizations would be fighting against. And it's weird because some people are part of multiple organizations. Like they might be, they'll be a Mason, they'll be a part of Skull and Bones, they'll be part of Bohemian Grove. So where does their allegiance lie? And I've heard those things, Marcus, about these people in the entertainment business having to sacrifice members of their family for them to get big. I don't know, man. Because every time somebody has a family, every time somebody who's famous has a family member that dies, all of a sudden it turns in, no matter who it is, and if the person is big or gets big right after, oh, that was a sacrifice. You know, uh, Prince died. Oh, that was a sacrifice. Michael Jackson died. That was a sacrifice. So I don't know. We say these things, but we don't have any proof of these things. It is all conspiracy theory. I need proof, some kind of proof of this before I just go off and ride with that. You know, we had guys who sit in a cigar lounge and they would just say that all the time, like, Michael Jackson was a sacrifice, Tupac was a sacrifice, Biggie was a sacrifice. Michael Jackson just, the doctor gave him too much drugs, too much medicine. I don't even know what Prince supposedly died over, you know, causes of his death. Tupac got shot, Biggie got shot. That was a sacrifice. It was assassination. No, they was being stupid, trying to act like they gangsters. Tupac wasn't a gangster. He was playing a role. But is there a sliver of possibility? Yes. There's a sliver of there's a possibility. I just don't ride with that possibility. What the hell? Man said it's illegal to be black in Oregon. I ain't never heard that before. So you're talking about the Oregon exclusion law. I remember seeing a thing about this, where they had laws in order to exclude black people from coming to Oregon um, back in 1844, but that was repealed. So it is not still legal to be. It's not illegal to be black in Oregon. They were having too many prosperous black communities in Oregon, and so they were trying to get rid of them and didn't want to allow a bunch of black people to continue to come to Oregon. But those laws were repealed in 1926. So you see, this is what I'm talking about. This is how people throw stuff out there for shock value, but without all the full information. It's illegal for black folks to be in Oregon. Those are not still on the book. The section is in there because they don't erase. You can't if you can't have an appeal, you repeal something. You still gonna have on the books what you repeal. But it is not illegal to be black in Oregon. That's like, and those are called, and you have a thing called blue law. So like in Virginia, it's still on the books that you can, with a whip that's less than 12 inches, you can beat your wife on the courthouse steps, no more than 12 shellacking. But there are other laws that now supersede those laws. You know, battery, spousal abuse. Those laws were put into place. So it's like, yeah, Virginia still says you on the first Sunday of the month on your wife, but the newer laws of spousal abuse, you're going to go to jail. So technically, you can do it, but you're going to jail for it. So really, you can't do it. So you can't don't throw out stuff like that. I'm gonna call that kind of stuff to the carpet every time. Don't throw out, oh, it's illegal to be black in Oregon still. Dude, give the full birth of the information. It's been repealed in 1926, and that's before even the Civil Rights Bill. But it was repealed in 19. Does the 13th Amendment serve any justice for a certain community, for a certain minority? 13th Amendment was the right to, no, 13th Amendment ended slavery except if you're a prisoner. You're in prison, which allowed for them to go ahead and create all kind of vagrancy laws so they can put black people in prison and then pretty much create slavery. There are still subsections. Dude, if you repeal a law, then the law is repealed. I can go and move to Oregon right now if I want to. I can be in Oregon if I want to. They're not going to, according to subsection law 1531, subsection 2815, in this law that was made in 1844 and 1857, you are hereby charged with being black in Oregon. Follow me, man. There's some proof about ritual sacrifices, research Sumatra. Man, give me more information than just Sumatra. If I research just Sumatra, then that's a whole bunch of magical shit. So that's not going to tell me that these people are doing it. I mean, I kind of know. I remember researching Gematria back in the day. So, and I think that's like a magic rituals and things of that nature. So, yeah, there are magic rituals that people do. Shit, I've done some magic rituals, but you know, I understand saying there's no proof, but people do, they do these things. Uh, and I'm pretty sure that there are some groups of people out there who are doing human sacrifices. I'm sure there's somebody out there doing it. I can't put it and say that they're doing this in those people. I wouldn't definitely go and say that those people are the ones that they're out there doing it. Saying Nevada is still illegal to whale hunt, I probably wouldn't waste the time to let's bring a bill on the floor to repeal the whale hunting in Nevada. If there are no whales in Nevada, I don't even understand why they would even make it. Dude, those are blue laws. Eating ice cream and fish at the same time. Those are blue laws. There's a whole bunch of those laws on books. But now I will agree with that, Mark. Many of these deaths don't make sense. The timing of these deaths does make it suspect. Can lend some credence to that mindset. So I get at that those part I will I can see that. There's a lot of laws that are still in the books, but that's why I one thing I will give them sorry ass founding fathers is that they realized the Articles of Confederation was not going to work. The Constitution is a document that is able to evolve, and most of the states created constitutions that are similar to the federal constitution, so they're able to evolve. What I won't do is say that okay, because they at one point in time they had legitimate for them, they thought they had legitimate reason for these laws, but now as time has moved on, there is no legitimate reason for those laws. So they either some of them had to be repealed, others had other laws written on top of them, or they're just plain stupid and the culture has moved on and we don't even enforce it. Technically, is it a law? But if you went to court, if I was in Maine and I ate fish and ice cream, and I went to a judge and some cop got up his ass to take me to jail for that, a judge is going to throw that out. No judge is going to prosecute that. No prosecutor is going to prosecute that. So it's like nobody, and they're not wasting time. Well, let's go clean up these blue laws to fit our current culture. Just leave them there. So it's a moot point. It's really the focus on those things really is a waste of time. Oh Lord, Kanye West admitted that his mother was a sacrifice for his music career. You know, Conway, Kanye, after his mom died, he kind of went to the left in his brain. Something. I think that he. I don't think he got the traumatic help that he needed when she passed away. So he say some interesting stuff, some weird stuff. Dude, I said that, but no cop is gonna arrest me and think to eat ice cream. No cop in their right mind. They all they you know. That's why you ain't heard of a cop arresting somebody in Maine for eating fish and ice cream. So, yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Ah, yeah, there are plenty of dumb laws. There's a whole list of them. Go to dumb law list, type in dumb laws, and you get a whole list of them. Like in Alabama, it's illegal for a driver to be blindfolded while operating a vehicle. The game dominoes may not be played on Sunday. Oh shit! I'm gonna go to Anniston, Alabama. You may not wear blue jeans down Noble Street in Anniston, Alabama. Montgomery, it is considered an offense to open an umbrella on the street for fear it will spook horses. Well, you cannot chain your alligator to a fire hydrant. You can't drive barefoot, and you cannot have ice cream in your back pocket at any time. Oh shit! This is some crazy stuff. Oh, I live in Georgia. I gotta see what Georgia got. Where is Georgia? There we go. Oh, in Atworth, Georgia, all citizens must own a rake. It's against the law to tie a giraffe to a telephone pole or a street lamp. Donkeys may not be kept in bathtubs. In Gainesville, Georgia, chicken must be eaten with the hands. It is illegal in Georgia to use profanity in the presence of a corpse. In Quitman, Georgia, it is illegal for a chicken to cross the it is illegal for a chicken to cross the road. In Jonesboro, which is down the street, it is illegal to say "oh boy." Oh boy over there. That's illegal in Jonesboro. Oh, my hometown, Marietta. Though it is illegal to spit from a car or bus, citizens may spit from a truck. Oh my God. Oh man, that was entertaining right there. That was worth the price of admission. Next time when I go visit my mom up in Marietta or any of my family members in Marietta, I'm gonna let them know. Y'all know it's illegal in Marietta for you to spit from a car or a bus. But if you're in a truck, you can spit out from a truck. And then I'm gonna go to Jonesboro and I'll be walking down the street. Oh boy! 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 I've always known more laws than police. Most police officers don't know the laws that they're not supposed to be enforcing. But I appreciate what you're saying. Uh, but those are not; those are blue laws, and nobody's enforcing. Blue laws are laws that are not. They were written for a reason, but they're not enforceable anymore. There's no need for them. Who I can see down back in the day, probably down in that Alabama little panhandle looking thing, in the bayou, people were chaining up their pet alligators to fire or people opening up, popping umbrellas when people were riding horses and didn't have cars, and they popped the umbrella and they spoofing cars, so they made a law. But we don't ride horses like that no more, so there's no reason. Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to go down. That sounds like one of them shows you see on the Travel Channel, where a person goes to every state or place and they do the blue law thing and see if they can get arrested. I'm gonna walk around and I think it was Montgomery with ice cream in my back pocket and walk up to a cop and get arrested. Oh, that'd be the show. That'd be a show. Like I go to Alabama, go to Anderson, Alabama, walk down Noble Street, wait for a cop, and then come over to a cop and be like, sir, I'm here to turn myself in. He's like, what are you turning yourself in for? Isn't it obvious? You see that I'm breaking the law. And you're like, well, what law have you broken? I'm wearing blue jeans on Noble Street, Anderson, Alabama. If I was a cop, I'd laugh at you. Now you go and tie a giraffe to a telephone pole, I might have, what the hell? But some of the dumber, yeah. That would be an interesting little stunt. But y'all got it. I'm about to get off here for real. Yep, time to go. I got an errand to run. I appreciate that one. I probably would have never looked that up, but now that I have, it's funny. You know, I'm gonna go read that whole list for all 50 states. All right, so I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll get back into our spirituality and our deconstruction tomorrow. I just want to have a little side conversation. I want conversation always be the same thing over and over again, or similar structure. Got to have some variety in life. So, but I thought that was an important subject matter in the very beginning for us to talk about, because we do need to get a better handle on our relationships and dealing with each other as a community and individually. I hope that young lady can figure out. I don't know if it's real or fake. One day we'll figure out if it is real or fake. All the information surrounding it, we'll find out one day. I hope it wasn't a hoax. Because if it was a hoax, then that was just wrong, because she's already collected like $36,000 on her GoFundMe. For all we know, she fell, hurt herself, and figured out, if I go out here and I blame black men, then I can get people to pay for my medical care. Or it could be legit that somebody did hit her, but the only part that's hard is that it didn't happen when she was around those black men that she claimed it happened. That is the only factual thing that we do know, because there's a video of, you can search for it, there's a video of when she came up there. She just came out of nowhere. So it didn't happen in front of the people that she was accusing didn't do anything. And when you do things like that, and you already got a reputation, that's why you always have to protect your reputation. You open yourself up to criticism unnecessarily. But anyway, so y'all, let's be honest with who we are. Let's dig in deep, find out more about who we are. Be honest with who we are so that we can be honest in this world. You will literally have a better life. I gotta say, the more when I realized more and more who I am, that I was more honest about who I am with people, my life has always been better since that first moment of starting to do that. So with that, y'all have a great day. See you tomorrow, Friday. And we'll have a great day. But y'all have a great day. Always remember, you got to free yourself to see yourself. Because greatness